Hey, I'm Jamie, Starling's marketing nerd. I'm out in Italy this week with my bodged together rat rod Mega Murmur.
That's the one, Jamie.
I normally ride 135mm on the back, 150 on the front with an Olin's coil and a Fox fork, but for this week I've changed it to a Mega Murmur because I don't know if you guys know at home, but you can put the Mega swing arm on the Murmur, add a longer shock, and you can move it up to 165 treble. With the standard Murmur swing arm you can go 125, 135, 150mm, and then you put a longer fork on, but with the Mega Murmur swing arm you can go all the way up to 165. So I've decided, because it's big, rough, rocky trails this week, I want a bike for that that's just going to be a bit more comfortable, a bit more relaxing. I say it's a bodged Mega Murmur because I've borrowed the shock from Joe, I've borrowed the swing arm from Joe, and I've stolen the fork off my e-bike, which needs a service like fuck, but has done the job. That's a 175 fork. So I've turned my do everything all mountainy trail bike into like a big mountain Italy holiday smasher, which is great, and it was really easy to do.
The rest of the bike's built up really simply. I've got some fine aluminium handlebars, silk aluminium wheels with cush core, Enduro Grip total tyres, Starling clutch stem, Marin Grizzly grips, and some Renthal pedals. Yeah, love it.
So this week we're in Tuscany with a company called RidgeLine MTB, run by a real nice guy called Rich. Rich is all about like big mountain adventures, 1,000-meter descents, big long uplifts as far as he can get you, then you pedal the rest of the way. Generally a bit more like adventure than just banging runs out. The highlight of the week was our hut trip, which was an amazing experience. We started the day with some fun technical trails. We had some lunch and then we set off up the mountain to the Refugio. It was the biggest climb I've ever done. It was crazy. We climbed something like 750 meters in 7K, with loads of pedaling, loads of pushing and loads of carrying our bikes up through this crazy old marble mine and then up to the top of the mountain. After that brutal push, we reached the peak and we were treated to some amazing views of Tuscany. Then we got a really loose, rocky, scary descent with heaps of sheer death exposure to the right-hand side. I felt pretty tired by that point in the week, and I was really glad of the Mega and the extra travel and that big long swing arm. That just gave me a bit of extra stability. We reached the Refugio eventually and it was proper cool. It's staffed permanently by these really nice people. They sell you beers, they cook for you, they put you up. You all sleep in this big shared dormitory, sit around a big table, and we managed to have a few drinks, celebrate, and they even got a birthday cake for our friend Mark. After a long, hot, farty, snory night in the shared dorm, we set off down the mountain. I was so glad of the big bike by that point. It was 100% pure jank all the way down, covered in loose rocks, tons of exposure, some really tricky endo corners, but some really fun, tough terrain. Hard on the arms, but really good fun. And again, I was really glad of that big fork up the front and that amazing EXT shock on the back. Oh my God, some ground that doesn't move underneath you.
650 meters down in just over 3K.
We got down, we drank some coffee, and then Rich treated us to a swim in this amazing river spot. Crystal clear, blue water, marble rocks. It was so cold, but felt so good after that descent of heat. So how was my mega experiment? I'm really glad I did it and went to the effort of borrowing the stuff and getting it all built up. The trails were really rough and really long. We were often doing 1,000-meter descents, top of the mountain to the bottom. The extra bit of wheelbase and the travel just really helped. It helped me relax, put me nicely in the middle of the bike, and it just helped me get off the brakes a little bit, which really helps with the arm pump and the fatigue, especially on those big long runs in the heat. I'm not the fittest or the fastest rider in the group, so I think having that just extra stability and extra travel really did me some favours. I was worried the bike might feel a bit heavy with the extra travel on the front especially, but it wasn't really a problem. I could pedal and carry it up some huge climbs in 30-degree heat, no faster or slower than the rest of the group on a variety of different aluminium carbon bikes, so no problem there. Again, not the fittest guy in the world, but managed to keep up just fine. So I don't think the extra weight mattered. I did notice the bike feeling a little longer compared to what I'm used to, but I got used to that pretty quick, and I think that's mostly just getting acclimatized. It does perhaps feel a little less playful with the slightly longer swing arm, and a little harder to get the front wheel up, but I reckon that's probably more to do with that heavy 38 which would come off my e-bike than anything else, which is a little heavier than a normal 38. I think I was going to buy a Murmur again today. I probably would go for the mega swing arm. It gives you an extra option for travel. You can have the 120, 1 wide 150 and that 160mm option. And I think that would just give you an extra option if you want the biggest travel bike you can get from a Starling. And I think it was really nice having that extra wheelbase, just putting me in the middle of the bike a bit more, just making the bike feel a little bit planted, and the grip felt amazing. In part that was due to that amazing, expensive, lovely EXT Storia shock, but I think the geometry and that central placement on the bike really did help. Back in the UK, it has inspired me to mix up my setup from the 135, 150 to go longer travel. I think ideally I'd like to try and go 160 on the front and 160 on the rear, but then I would have to change my swing arm because the one I was using on the holiday was borrowed from Joe. So perhaps I'll go 160 fork and then 150 travel, which would be a new shock but not a new swing arm. So that's a lower cost upgrade and should still feel quite different to the to what I'm running right now. Otherwise, loved it. Bike performed well, zero maintenance, bolts weren't coming loose, no punctures, just really easy setup, easy thing to live with. Could get home at the end of the day, put it in the workshop, really just had to lube the chain and do a bolt check, and that was about it. I also really love that I can make this change from the same bike. I can run a short travel trail bike and a longer travel enduro bike, and it just, you know, you have to spend a bit of money to do it, but the option's there and you don't have to buy a new bike if you want to really go from one extreme to the other. So yeah, thanks to Joe for lending me the bike. And last but not least, thanks again to Rich at RidgeLine in Tuscany. We had an amazing week, super fun, really good adventure, and that hut trip was once in a lifetime. Would recommend it to anyone. If you have any questions about my bike or the holiday, just drop us a comment below. Feel free to send me a DM, leave it down below on YouTube. Just get in touch if you need anything. Hope you found this interesting. Hope you found it useful if you're trying to decide whether you're going to go for a mega or a normal Murmur. I loved it. Hopefully you will too. So thanks for watching. Cheers, Rich. Thanks, everyone.
When you have a problem with your crown, you need two tools. The bigger one, and this for the precision final regulation. This is the first one. And then with the little one, just to finish.